Lynchy, it's been a while. Summer's just about over. Well, saying that, the weather, the now, you wouldn't think it's over. But first of all, how's your summer been? Have you been able to get the golf clubs out as much as you hoped?
Yeah, a few times, but I kind of retired from golf this summer after 4 or 5 rounds I'd rather not talk about. So yeah, but yeah, summer's been good. Summer's been good. Team building, getting guys together and putting the team together for this year, and spending a bit of time with the family. So yeah, it's all been good. It's all been good. But ready to get back into things now.
So obviously we'll look ahead, Lynchy, to the season ahead. But we'll touch briefly on last season. I spoke to you obviously at the end of the season, and I know you were disappointed with the end, the way it did end. Obviously we had a good run up until maybe the last 5 or 6 weeks. Which so just what's your overall view of the season, both on and off the ice?
It was a challenge, obviously, at the start. We had to train for the first sort of 4 weeks out of Fife, and then the next 4 weeks out of Braehead while we waited on Murrayfield opening. So yeah, that was definitely a challenge. But we got through it, and then once we got back into our own rink, things really started to take shape and started to take off for us. And then I think if people remember the weekend we played Whitley Bay home and away, managing to beat them twice really was a great catalyst for us. It really kick-started our season, and then I think from there on, I think we went from a run from roundabout sort of mid-November to mid-February, where I think we took something like 32 points out of 36. Won games in all sort of different ways, shapes and forms, and almost looked unbeatable at times during that sort of run that we had. And then what happened after that, if I'm being honest, I'm still not 100% sure. Things just didn't go our way the last sort of 5 or 6 league games, and then obviously in the playoff quarter final as well. Like I say, I've been trying to put my finger on what went wrong. Still haven't really come up with the answers as to why, but such is life. We move on. Off the ice, I mean, it was off the ice. Everything was fantastic. Like I say, the minute Murrayfield opened and you saw the work that had been done around the rink, people straight away started, taking the new rink management team seriously. With the new bar and the new cafe and all the other things that they did around the rink, and then the way the fans came out in their numbers last year was truly staggering. I remember speaking to Scott and Alex and Liz, this time last year, and I think we were hoping if we could get 400, 450, maybe 500 people a game, we thought we'd be doing well. And then what was it? The Aberdeen game at home was the first one. There was maybe just shy of 1,000 there, and from there on, every week it seemed to just get a little bit bigger and a little bit noisier every week. I think the attendance peaked at something like 1,650. For an SNL game in Edinburgh. Take a minute to sort of think about that. We had over 1,600 people watching an SNL game in Edinburgh. The Elite League capitals, the BNL capitals, couldn't get any crowds close to that. Not many other teams in the SNL. There's only one other team in the SNL who could potentially get close to a crowd like that. So lots of positives, lots of things to build on for this season, and yeah, we're ready to go.
And for you, just personally, Lynchy, it was obviously your first season as a senior coach. I'd imagine there was mistakes made along the line. Do you look back and you take things away from that, and you know what you need to, improve on going ahead?
No, Easty, you know me. I don't make mistakes. Come on. No. Yeah, of course there was. Of course there was. There was mistakes made at the beginning, the middle, and the end. And the best thing about that is you learn from them. You learn quickly, and you make sure you don't make the same mistake twice. The challenges that we faced at the start of last season, things probably could have been a little bit smoother. Getting things set up the way we did could have maybe been a little bit better to begin with. But like I say, a lot of those things were out with our control at the start of the season, purely because the rink wasn't ready. Mistakes throughout the season, yeah, I dare say there was. I dare say there was several. But like I say, as long as you don't make the same mistake twice, then and you're learning on the job, then fine.
And you said to me, we spoke at the end of the season, Lynchy, and you had mentioned that you wanted to move quickly, you wanted to get signings announced coming into the summer. And you did that right away. You obviously announced Chad within, I think it was by the end of the week, after we had lost in the playoffs. And then it kind of just rolled on for there. You announced a few guys right off the bat. You must be delighted though that these guys, they've all kind of bought back into it. The majority of them have returned. That must mean a big thing to you as well, knowing that they're enjoying what's on offer.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. You don't want to have 12 players leaving and have to bring in 12 new players every season. That doesn't work from a continuity point of view. Going back to what we said in the interview that we did like this last year, the things that we wanted to achieve was one of the things we wanted to achieve was we wanted to make this a place where once you come, you don't want to leave. And I think that's testament to the fact that we've got pretty much everybody back, bar two or three. The other thing that we wanted to do this year was we wanted to bring as many guys back as we could from last season's team because they were all hurting at the way last season finished. They were all disappointed the way it kind of fell apart in the last few weeks. So we wanted to give those guys an opportunity to come back and put it right. I think that was important. After I spoke to every single one of them at the end of last season, they all shared the same disappointment and the same frustration as myself. So like I say, we had a little review, Dags, myself, and a few other people, and had a chat, and we decided we wanted to bring as many of the guys back as we could to give them an opportunity to put things right, while at the same time trying to bring in another two or three players to just make us a little bit stronger.
And I was around the guys a lot last year, obviously at training, and you can tell it was a great locker room, a great bunch of guys. And do you think that's a big reason as well because of what was built off the ice? It was a good group of guys that enjoyed being around each other.
Yeah, everybody seemed to get on great. Usually, I've been involved in a lot of dressing rooms over my time in hockey, and you always come across one or two guys that you'd rather never see or hear from again at the end of a season and things like that. But we really did have a great nucleus, and it was probably more by luck than anything else. We did our research on guys and made sure they were all good people as well as good hockey players. That's just as important a thing when you're putting guys in a dressing room together for 8 or 9 months. But there was probably an element of good fortune in that as well, that everybody seemed to get on as well as they did, right from the very first couple of team bonding sessions we did before the season even started. And then the difficulties we had to go through for the first 8 weeks training and playing in other rinks. Everything just really fell into place with the guys. We really did have a great group. Everybody got on really well together. You could probably count on one hand the amount of arguments that happened in the dressing room through the whole course of a season. And even those arguments were done and dusted and finished as soon as they started. So we're really fortunate that we had a good group of guys last year. And I was very mindful of that when we were looking to bring in the 2 or 3 extra bodies that we brought in. We wanted to make sure that they were going to be a good fit too.
And then just leading on to what you've just mentioned there, the new guys that have came in, you've brought in, at present, we've got 6 new guys coming in. We'll just run through them one by one quickly, Lynch, and you can give us a wee bit, just, telling us what you're hoping to bring to the team. So first, we've got Kieran Hogan, who's going to be playing in net, coming for the Kestrels. Tell us a wee bit about him.
Yeah. Kieran's a goalie I'd never really seen much of in the past until this season. I remember there was a game in Kirkcaldy. We won the game 3-2, and I think we battered them the whole game. Kieran faced something like 55 shots that game and only gave up 3 goals. I remember walking away thinking, good goalie, he had a really good game. Didn't really think anything more of it at the time. Just praised them for the game that he had. I think I sit them in the handshake in a really good game. He had another good game against us when Fife beat us in the Scottish Cup, and so I got to know a little bit of what he was like just playing against him those couple of times, and then it kind of fell into place. Kieran got in touch with me round about not long after the season had finished, to saying that he was looking for somewhere to play next year. And it came within a day or two of Harry telling me that he wouldn't be returning. So everything, the Ducks were just kind of in a line. It happened literally within 2 days. Harry told me he was leaving, and we signed Kieran as the replacement. So everybody knows the situation with Harry. Harry's a great kid, and he was frustrated with the amount of ice time that he got. The games last year just didn't give us a great opportunity to use both our goalies the way we'd like to. Hopefully we'll get that opportunity to use both our goalies more this year. But no, like I say, if Kieran can bring the games that I've seen him play against us last year and put them in our net, then happy days.
The next one up's Scott Geddes. Scott is a name that people will know that have followed hockey in Edinburgh. He played with the Racers a couple of years ago, but recently he's been at Dundee Comets, and he comes in as a Scottish Cup winner and a playoff winner, which is always good to have that guys with a winning mentality, isn't it?
Yeah. Scott's a good defenseman. He's a good player. He's an experienced player. He ticks a lot of the boxes of what we were looking for to strengthen our D core. You know, last year we had Cian Shevlin, who was only 16. Aidan was only 18 last year, playing in his first year in SNL. We had quite a relatively young defensive group. So bringing in Scott gives us that little bit more leadership and a little bit more experience. And again, he's a guy I got to know when I spent a sort of year and a half up in Dundee coaching up there. I was coaching the under-19 team. And what I liked about Scott was he pretty much jumped on the ice, not every 19s practice, but certainly regularly, just to get some extra ice time. And those are all the little things that kind of stick in your head as a coach, you know. Somebody that's willing to do a little bit extra, somebody that's willing to go that little bit further. So when the opportunity came to sign Scott, I didn't have to think twice about it. Again, it was another one. He got in touch with me asking what was happening in Edinburgh next year, and straight away my kind of ears pricked up a little bit, and we made it happen quickly.
Yeah, and then we'll touch on the two guys we've got in two-way deals for Solway. We've got Rory Lockerbie and Andrew Craik. Tell us a wee bit about they two.
Both good players. Martin Grubb and Jamie Thompson speak very highly of both of them. I know Rory pretty well, just through coaching against them over the years at a junior level, various levels, and I've had him with the Scotland under-19 team a couple of times. I know what he can do. Rory has a great set of hands. He can make things happen on the ice. Big kid, you know, can see the ice well, can pass the puck, can beat defensemen, can see things that are going on out there. So really excited to get Rory. Andy, again, a guy I know from just coaching against him at junior level. Spud and Jamie, again, spoke very highly of him about where his games come in the last sort of 18, 24 months. And also how his personality's really changed in the last sort of year or two as well. How he's become more focused and, you know, more dedicated. And both these guys eventually want to try and get into the Solway Sharks team permanently. We've got them on two ways this year to try and help them. And if we can help them, much like we tried to do with Kyle and Cian last year, then all well and good. We'll have done our job.
And we'll just touch on that as well, Lynch, just going off subject a wee bit, but we've got a good partnership going there with Solway, and is that something that obviously you've done last year with, as you say, Cian and Kyle, and now Rory and Andrew this year? Is that something obviously that's obviously beneficial to you as well, just having that?
Absolutely. Martin Grubb and I have known each other since we were about 8 years old. We both grew up in Kirkcaldy and both played in the same junior teams all our days until he moved down to Solway about maybe, I think he was maybe around 17, something like that. So you know, we've kept in touch, and you know, the situation with Kyle and Cian worked very well for us last year. I spoke to him earlier in the summer and said, you know, we'd like to do something similar, whether it be with Kyle and Cian again, or whether it be with other players that he's maybe thinking are going to need to go somewhere to get some extra ice time to help develop their game. We're more than happy to work together. Like I say, we've known each other for a long, long time, and he knows that we're ultimately trying to help him out, and vice versa. So it's a win-win for both parties, and I'm sure maybe later on this year or maybe next year we'll look to keep that partnership kind of working for both clubs.
And just a couple of weeks back there, your last kind of signing there that came in there was Timo Shevchik. I think that's how you pronounce it. And he's came in for the Kestrels. He played a few games with the Kestrels last year and also was part of the Kirkcaldy junior system there.
Yeah, young kid. I think he's 17, maybe just turning 18. I've worked with him a lot in the Scotland programme for a few years. He's always been, you know, close to breaking into the Kestrels team, but never really getting the chances that he maybe deserved. He's coming to university in Edinburgh. He actually lives in it. I think he lives on the south side of Edinburgh, maybe Dalkeith Way, something like that. He expressed an interest in wanting to come and play in Edinburgh. So, you know, I love to try and do my part in developing young players. If we can help get Timo some regular ice time with the Caps, while also he's playing with the under-19s team, he'll get plenty ice time this year, and hopefully a good chance to show himself.
And the final name on the roster at present, a new guy has came in, is an import forward in Xander Wardlaw, who comes from Australia, and he played in the NIHL 1 South, was it? Is that correct? With Oxford last season?
He played in Oxford last year. He led their team in scoring last year. Funny kind of situation. It was Chad originally put me in touch with him. once the season finished, he came up and he was staying with his grandparents for a few days before he flew home to Australia. His grandparents live in Glenrothes. So I met him at a Starbucks one day with a coffee and with a chat. And it was really, at that point, back in April, it was nothing more than just to sort of introduce ourselves to each other and find out a little bit about each other, things like that. And we left the conversation sort of saying, okay, well, let's keep in touch over the summer and we'll see what can happen. I didn't know if it was going to go any further after that conversation I had when I met him or not. But we kept in touch. He made it clear he wanted to come to Edinburgh. I think he's definitely going to help our team. And like I say, the fact that his grandparents live in Glenrothes, he's got the passport that he needs and the paperwork that he needs. Everything just kind of fell into place that for us to sign him. We did our background checks on him because we'd never really seen him play. We saw some video. The video can sometimes show people in a light that's not maybe themselves sometimes. But I had a long conversation with his coach in Oxford last year who only said good things about him. We spoke to people that we know in Australia, guys like Paddy Ward that played for the Caps years ago, guys like Richie Lamb that played for the Racers years ago that are all living in Australia. Everything about him came back to was positive. Good kid, good attitude, good guy in having the dressing room, mixes well with his teammates, just a generally good person. And everybody spoke highly about him on the ice as well, about his skill level and his intensity level and his competitiveness and things like that. So I think we've got a good signing there. I really do. I think I think we've probably upgraded in all departments this year with the guys that we've brought in, and all going well. Hopefully, we're not finished yet, and maybe just a case to watch this space.
And just on the import side of things, you've always said you would look for like a kind of import quota to be challenging each other and pushing each other. Is that still a situation that you're looking at this season?
Yeah, we're always looking. We're always looking to add to the team. I think if any team comes out and says that's our roster now complete, I think that's quite a naive statement. I think as any coach, you should always be looking if there's somebody available to make your team a little bit better, whether it's a British trained player or an imported player. I think you've definitely got to look at that option. We're always looking to make the team as competitive or as good as we can be, and we'll always be looking to strengthen if we can.
So, Lynch, the season, it's only a week and Saturday and will be our first game against the Kestrels. Obviously, the ice is getting put down at Murrayfield just now. You'll be hoping to get on there for a skate this week. Do you speak to the guys, what you want them to come back, to be ready to go? And how do you look at pre-season?
Well, first of all, I think they all know the expectations that are set. They know that they need to come in ready to go. They need to come in. They need to be fit. They need to be motivated, and then they need to be excited about the season starting. With regards to our schedule, so this is Tuesday. I don't know what day you're putting this interview out on each day, but we're going to be skating Thursday for the first time. The ice is in the middle of getting put down right now. We're going to have our first practice this Thursday. We are then going to make a sort of day of it on the Saturday. We're going to go twice. We're going to have a little bit lunch in between. We're going to have a sort of team induction meeting, come video session in between the two sessions as well. Bit of lunch, and then we're all going to maybe go for a beer or two together after that, just to give the new guys a chance to get to know everybody. And then the following week, we're going to go, at the very least, we're going to go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We may look to throw another one in there if we feel the need to. The start of your question, yeah, it's not ideal. We are a couple of weeks behind everybody again, and when we go to play our first game, we're going to be playing against teams that have already played 3, 4, 5 games. But on the flip side of that, we're also in a much better position than we were this time last year. Last year, we had 4 one-hour practices in 4 weeks in Fife to get ready for our first game. We're going to go 6 times in the space of, 8, 9 days? And we're going to be doing it in our own rink, which is massive. Getting to have pre-season in our own rink, in our own dressing room, our new dressing room, which is getting put together for us as well. It's going to be, like we say, not ideal, but a hell of a lot better than it was this time last year.
In the league last year, Lynch, the SNL, we spoke about at the start, the crowds, it was probably the best the SNL's been because it wasn't just ourselves, every team was well supported. That must mean a lot to you because I know how big you are on homegrown talent getting brought through and that and seeing these guys getting a chance to flourish in a league that's growing.
The league's definitely growing. It's a very competitive league. You look at that league last year and North Ayr had their struggles last year. Everybody knows that, but they've definitely got a better team this year. But the other 7 teams could all beat each other on any given night. We used to say that almost every week, and that did happen. Kilmarnock, we finished second. Kilmarnock finished 7th. Kilmarnock knocked us out of the playoffs. Kilmarnock also finished in finishing 7th place, beat the Kestrels in their own rink, beat the Comets in their own rink. They were no mugs, and that was a 7th place team. Aberdeen, much like ourselves, had a great middle part of the season, and then they were losing games to Paisley, to Dundee, and also everybody could beat everybody. That's what made the league so good, definitely.
And you've spoken before, Lynchy, about forming a good partnership with the Murrayfield juniors. Is that something? Did it take place through last year, and is it something you're looking to progress this season?
It was something that we didn't get as far with last year as we would have hoped, purely because I think us being a first-year team and spending the first couple of months without a rink and then having enough to sort of get set up with and get organised once we did get in our own rink. And the season was pretty intense and pretty fast and furious. We probably didn't get the link with the juniors that we would have liked. I have spoken to the chairperson of the junior club, Alan Ward, a few times over the last few weeks, and we are definitely going to start forming that link a little bit better now. I'm going to potentially work a little bit with the coaches, and the rink management team are looking to work with the junior club a little bit more as well. And there's definitely things we can do to help improve the junior club and the setup there. There's a lot of people at the caps level, not just myself. You look at Jim Patterson with a wealth of knowledge how Jim set up Lanarkshire. Jim was one of several people that set up Lanarkshire Lightning Hockey Club, and you see where they are now as a club after being in existence for 8, 9, 10 years, however long it is. And you've got other people as well behind the scenes that are more than happy to sort of help. And what we need to have is we need to have a production line of players coming through the Murrayfield Junior Club. So if I'm going to be the coach of the Caps for the next 4 or 5, however many years, these players start coming through, and we don't have to start looking from too far afield, because hopefully we've got 16, 17-year-olds that have come through the system for the last 4 or 5 years that are ready to jump in the Caps team.
So, Lynchy, the roster's set. The ice is going back down, obviously, as we speak. What's your aims for the season on the ice?
Same as last year, Eastie. We want to win. We want to win. I think the words I used last year, if you're playing to come second, why the hell are you playing at all? We want to win. That doesn't mean to say we're not going to have to fight for it. It doesn't mean to say it's going to be a cakewalk. It doesn't mean to say it's definitely going to happen. But that's the goal. The goal at the start of every season has to be to win, to come first. Otherwise, go and do something else. Go and play an individual sport. We're playing a team sport here. We're all in it together. We've got a great bunch of guys. We've got a great bunch of fans behind us. We've got a good management team in place. We want to win. It's as simple as that. And
just, you say that they're the fans. They played a huge part last year in games that, maybe we thought we were down and out at times, but, the fans got behind the boys, and, we clawed our way back. Maybe some games that we shouldn't have won, but we did, and it kept us going. And what's your message to them? Because, they supported us superbly last year, and so what's your message to them again this season, Lynchy?
We can't really talk highly enough of them, for the ones that stuck with hockey in Edinburgh for the last 20 odd years. Everybody knows the Elite League Capitals had their struggles over the years. It was a difficult league for them to compete in often. So from the fans that have stuck through it for years, for the Racers fans that wanted to keep coming back to Murrayfield to watch hockey, from the new fans that started coming just this last season or halfway through last season, we literally can't talk highly enough of them. They were absolutely fantastic. The way they bought into what we were trying to achieve was amazing. It really was. We want to see them all back again this year, and we want to see more of them. We like I said earlier, our attendance peaked at something like 1,650 last season. How good would it be to have a game at Murrayfield Ice Arena with 2,000 people in it? That would be unbelievable, and it's possible. It's doable. My message to them is just keep doing what you're doing. Keep being you. Be loud. Get behind the team. Support us. We're going to be doing more fan interaction stuff this year. I think already there's 2 skate with the Capitals things planned this year instead of 1. Where it's fans are the lifeblood of a club, aren't they? And we want to see them coming week after week, supporting, going home with a smile on their face. Hopefully after we've taken 2 points, and we'd like to see as many of them in away games as well. But no, like I say, I was blown away. I really was. It was. We all thought if we could have got something between 400 or 500 fans a game, we'd be doing pretty well. And straight off the bat, the first home game, we pretty much doubled that, and it just seemed to grow and grow as the season went on.
Well, I think we've covered everything just now, Lynchy. Obviously, we'll be speaking plenty through the season. I'll let you enjoy the last few days of the sunshine before you're in a freezing cold rink for the next 7 months or 8 months or whatever it may be.
Yeah, can't wait. Can't wait. There's nowhere else I'd rather be.
Brilliant. Right, we'll speak soon, Lynchy. Cheers.
Okay, Steve. Thank you.